welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. Normally on Fridays I will post a video of what I did during that week, but part of this past week I was on my break, and so this video is just serving as like an update video of what I did and what was going on during my winter break. And so it might be a little bit shorter. I know usually my end of week videos are normally a little bit longer, but that's okay. I don't know if I really wanted to open that. I did have some rabbits that kindled during the break, which is great, and I had some that were due today. I am not sure if Sausage delivered. Sometimes they hide their babies really well. And then Jumper on the other end, she also was due, and I can't tell if she has babies back there or not. So we're gonna check them, as well as the litters that were born while we were away. I was here, but I wasn't filming. I'm gonna shut this again though. There's a cold wind coming from the west. Cold isn't necessarily a problem for rabbits, but cold blowing air, you know, it just doesn't help. All right, so this will be Sausage's fourth litter, I believe. Watch out, Mama. And again, I don't know if she's had them yet. Doesn't really feel like it. It's pretty dense in here. I like to pack my nest boxes densely. Yeah, she hasn't had them yet. This rabbit was supposed to kindle like the 22nd of December or something like that. She hasn't, and this is her second time with me breeding her, and so I think she's probably sterile. This particular rabbit was heavily line bred, and sometimes it can go wrong, and I don't think that she's able to have babies. So she'll be going in the freezer. Here is Bow. Bow had 6 kits right before the break. Bow has not pulled a lot of fur for her babies, but they're getting bigger, and she still has all of them, so they're staying snuggled and cozy in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see they're starting to get their cute little dark points. This one is a little bit gray. We call this a frosty when it comes to Californians. The Californian's hair is temperature sensitive, so those dark points that they have, they will get darker when it's colder, and the kits sometimes will get a grayish color in response to cold weather, and I've heard that they'll do it in response to warm weather as well, which is neat. Beto, on the other hand, has pulled a ton of fur, which is great. Her kits are a little bit younger. She did have 6 when she initially kindled, but she did lose one the other day. It had come out of the nest during the night and was out here frozen. But she should still have 5 in here. Starting to get their hair. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are you? Oh. No, there should be 5. So we're gonna pull these out. I do want to get it out because a deceased kit in here, it's going to break down. Yep. There it is. I got it. She still has 4 strong ones. We'll put them back. Occasional losses do happen. Promptly had 8 beautiful babies. We're gonna count them. She has been defensive of her baby, so we gotta be a little bit careful. She does a good job with the hair in her nest too. All of them are black again. This is her second litter. The cute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. She still has 8 warm bunnies. I think the temperature outside right now is like 25, but it's a warm 25. There must be very little humidity. We're warming up again to normal. This is a little bit below normal, especially where we just had temperatures in the 70s. Now, the 70s this time of year is also abnormal, but this major temperature swing wasn't really fun. How about you, Jumper? Did you put anything over there? I think I'm gonna actually take this out. Nope, nothing back here. That's all right, the day is young. Speaking of young, we hear you. How are these babies doing? So I stuck Spunky and Nick in this wiener pen with my meat boys so we could get a little bit of one-on-one time with them to help hopefully socialize them a little bit more. I can't say that it's working, which is unfortunate. I still have to kind of corner them, and they don't love that, but it's the only way I can really get close to them in order to try and socialize them. They don't mind me through the fence. Really, none of them mind me through the fence. It's just getting in there with them that's hard. Huh? Is your water ice? You probably noticed only 3 heads really fit well in that feeder at a time. And Nyx is actually going to her new home this weekend. So many of you know that we are selling all of our Nigerian dwarves. Many of them are leaving in springtime. But this particular line of goats actually is leaving first. She's out of our doe that we had named Foxy, who I have an update on Foxy. You guys need to see her in her Christmas outfit. So cute. She's doing so great in her new home. But her buckling, Rodeo, went to his new home this past month, and now Nyx is leaving this weekend. It's bittersweet. While she's occupied with food, I can pet them. All of them. Most of them. Hey girls, you ready for more water? I know I didn't bring cookies this morning. Margie has remembered what an animal cracker is, and she loves them. But I don't have one right now. No girl, it's not milk time. It's water time. Hey Tori, looking good and round. Many pregnant goats in here. Hey Shindy, are you thirsty? Oh my gosh, she's so big. Trying to figure out which one you want. They're both cold right now, baby. This bucket is heated. It's plugged into the wall over there. But it just came up from underground, so it hasn't warmed up yet. I guess she chooses the black bucket. Miss Molly here is our first doe to kid in the upcoming kidding season. She's due at the end of this month. She's bred to Bella Rosa Estates Mooch. If you are familiar with the blue cactus herd, this is blue cactus Molly. I got a glimpse of her udder when we purchased her this last fall. I like what I see, so I know she's gonna make her new owner really happy. You too, you're such a character. This is my most anticipated udder of springtime though. This is my blue cactus nefarious daughter. Her name is Melee. She's a mini La Mancha, and her udder is just starting to come in. It's really cute. And I think it's gonna be nice and high. I think her teeth are gonna be nice and long. Melee is gonna be a dream. Besides the fact that she's not super friendly, we're gonna work on that. We have to, because she's perfect otherwise. And as far as an update on feeding free choice alfalfa, it's going really well. Right around the time I made the last video of 2025, we got a new shipment of hay. This hay is an orchard grass hay. It's not like the best quality, but it's definitely not the worst. It smells lovely. The girls are liking it, but we are going through far less hay than we once did, and they're wasting far less hay, and it's really nice. Now that the weather is nice again, I should be feeding the hay outside. I just had it inside for like drizzly cold weather that we had. We're loving basking this morning. It's beautiful outside. Hey Stormy girl, are you loving the sunshine? She's got an itch. Hey sweetie, good morning. Really excited for Tori to kid too. I was looking again at the ultrasound and it looks like Tori could have 3 in there. I didn't remember that. That would be exciting. At least 2 though. I know that everybody says the first thing that you should put on your homestead when you get there is your orchard, because it takes like 5 years to get fruit. Nay. Get yourself freeze-free water hydrants everywhere that you feel like you're gonna need water. You will not regret it. I'm sure the orchard is a close second, but water. Do yourself that favor and put water in as many places as you can. I do not have a video on this, but what we did is my husband rented a ditch witch, and he watched some videos on how to hook up the water from our main. We had to have the water company come out and put out a new water main for near our barn. And there were permits and things with that. That was the least fun part, but Levi did the rest, and it's been in for like, this is the 4th winter, I think. It's really, really great. One of the things I did while the camera was off was wean off Sausage's kits from her first litter of this fall season. And then down here we have Jumper's 3 kits, and then Promptly's 4. Stuck them in here together. This is not our permanent weaning setup for our grow out rabbits. I actually have tractors that are out on the other side of our carport. These cages were just open and it was convenient. This is not my favorite setup because of these trays here. It's just, it seems less healthy for the rabbits to be this close to their excrement, and when there's this many of them in one space, there's obviously a lot of droppings going on, so I have to change these more frequently. I actually am due for a clean out of this area of the barn as well. The reason I'm waiting is I have a destination for all of this rabbit poo. I have a growing space that I plan to use extensively this year called the lane that still needs some beds to be built. And my kids just got new garden beds for Christmas. That's gonna help expand their garden. So once those beds are together, this manure is going straight into those. Dumpling's hanging out in her nest box. I don't know if that means anything. I have had rabbits go a week overdue before. I don't know if that's what she's doing, but that's why she still has her box, just in case. But once we're past a certain point, maybe the 2nd or 3rd of the year, she is going to go in the freezer if she doesn't have babies. One of the reasons I'm culling so hard with my rabbitry is I do have a lot to look forward to. We have 2 different breeders that have offered us a trifecta of silver fox rabbits. None of the rabbits are related, so it's really awesome. And so I am mentally making space here and physically making space here in my rabbitry for when those rabbits arrive. Now, it is true, you do want to prove out your new breeding stock before you get rid of your old stock, because if you get rid of your old stock and your new stock isn't breeding, that's obviously bad. You want to get something out of your rabbits. But with rabbits like Dumpling, where she's not producing anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's like an even trade. I do believe the new rabbits will produce better. Things are looking a little bit different in here. This is my overflow shed. I do have a couple of rabbit hides that have hide tanning solution on them. I need to start working on those this week. I'm not seeing any germination yet. But while I was away, I started the late winter, early spring garden. What I planted for the late winter, early spring garden is essentially exactly what I planted for the fall garden. My fall garden didn't produce in the way that I hoped it would. Turns out I did speak to my Amish friend. I told my Amish friend I started my plants in July, and I thought that would have been enough time. She says, yeah, that sounds about right. I said, I started them from seed, and then her eyes got real wide and she goes, oh no. So she thinks that I should have plants ready to go out in the garden, like 8 weeks starts around the end of July, early August. So that's where I've gone wrong as far as timing with my community. The Amish have beautiful brassica plants in fall time, and I'm still not exactly sure how they manage it as far as pests go and the heat, but maybe it's a variety thing. In any case, I need more water. In any case, I do know that I have my timing down for this time of year. Right around middle to end of December is when I start my spring seeds, and these are all frost tolerant varieties. I've got a cabbage in here, a broccoli, cauliflower, and some onions. So that's what's down here. I started these a little bit later than I have in years past, mostly because I have a lot of experience now with the Green Magic hybrid broccoli and how vigorous that is. And if I let it sit in these seed trays for 8 weeks, they're huge and they're starting to shade each other out. And so really the goal is to get them out in the garden by the time the seedlings are about 6 weeks old, and hopefully our weather cooperates with that. I don't know. We'll see. I am really nervous about this warm fall we've had and what that could mean for our winter. Is it going to be ridiculously cold all of a sudden, or is it going to remain mild? I guess that is to be seen. This white light apparently is the new light that Epic has on their seed starting setup. All of these are from Epic Gardening, but you can see the difference here. This one's purple, that one's white. I prefer the white, and I know a lot of other people do too. So if you're thinking about this system, that's a nice upgrade. The kids put together 2 of their beds that they got for Christmas. That's a water gun. So that's the state of their garden right now, but there's gonna be 2 more beds that go out this way. And we may have to put a little fence around it so the cats and dog don't get into their garden, but you can see the vision. Here come the boys. I failed big time. I didn't bring food. Here's Farrell. He's always interested in the ladies, so he was over there while these boys were out grazing. Hello. I should go get the food, huh? I came to talk about the greenhouse, but I need to feed the boys. So our 5 boys that we've got right now, plus Mochi. He's our resident weather. How are you doing out here, huh? Everyone looks good. Remember what I said about the water? This is so valuable. And once it's installed, you get to benefit right away. I know the whole thing with the orchard is that you get it started so that you can benefit from the orchard as soon as possible, but the water, do the water. All right, back to talking about plants and the garden. This here is the lane. It looks rough because a lot of times my garden does this time of year. Truthfully, this space got a little bit ignored this past year. I was focused on the greenhouse mostly. But you see we've got beds laid out here. This whole thing is 100 feet long, and I have planted in ground in this space, but I'm moving away from that for a few reasons. One of the reasons is we are on top of clay, and while clay does get a bad rap as a growing medium, our clay really isn't too bad, except we are at the bottom. And so when our land gets saturated, it gets very saturated, and saturated roots of plants get choked out, and it's just a pain. We have really loved growing in raised beds. I find them easier to amend and just easier to deal with overall, versus in-ground garden, the weeds are easier to deal with and all that. So way down there all the way up to here, these are the beds that we have built, and I do have the beds, I just haven't built them yet to finish it out. What's in here right now is just spent hay. There's actually a lot of it. I expected it to break down more than it has, but that's okay. It will break down over time. This growing space is going to be a work in progress for some years. A lot of times first year growing spaces really underperform what you hope for them, but who knows, this could surprise us. I just need to get it set up and get planting. That growing space that we just left, the lane, that is going to be where my frost tender things are grown this year. We have a lot of frost-free days where we're growing. Southwestern Kentucky, zone 7A, and it's around 200 growing days. And so I don't necessarily need a space like this in order to grow frost-free things. Really, I am starting to see where this high tunnel has more of a benefit when it comes to cold weather crops. Even though we grow in a warmer zone, those types of crops have been what has done best in here, and really things like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage are what my family really likes to consume the most, and this controlled space really helps us get the most that we can out of those types of vegetables. So here's an update on the greenhouse. A lot of the dead stuff, that was cauliflower. Here there are still some cabbages. There's one down there, and there's a couple actually in here. This broccoli is trying to head. We'll see how far it makes it. Again, I don't know how cold our temperatures are supposed to be coming up, but this might do okay. But a lot of these plants, I've already harvested the center head. This one, actually, that is the center head, but these guys are side shoots, and they're quite large. Again, this is the Green Magic hybrid. I love it. See the side shoots here? There's almost a whole head's worth of side shoots coming off of this plant. So I need to harvest those soon. There's a whole bunch of them here in the greenhouse. See, there's another one with a whole ton of side shoots. Got them here and here and here. I actually just made a plan for this whole planting space for the springtime, and I'll put that on the screen right here. Everything that's going to be planted in here around February time frame is frost tolerant. The plan is to grow several different types of peas, from snow peas to shelling peas, all along the trellises that are in here. Those will get planted on the inside of the trellis, and as far as the outside of the trellis goes, that's going to be reserved for root vegetables. Mainly carrots are going to be on this side, and then this side I'll have things like kales and bok choy. And then our springtime brassicas are going to be in these larger beds on either side of the archway. I also do have planters like this and a lot of grow bags. I haven't exactly set in stone what I want to plant in these grow bags, but I have them. I've got a lot of grow bags. I have around 20 of them, I think. And these are great because I can move them around. I can pick them up and put them in the greenhouse if that's what they need, or put them outside of the greenhouse if that is what they need. I have a couple grow bags planted right now. These are beets. I am not great at growing beets or spinach. This is all they've done in the, goodness, many weeks that they've been out here. I do need to water in here, so maybe we should just do that while we're out here. But before I do that, the onions, where am I gonna put those? Last year I grew onions all in these outside beds. I grew way too many onions. I have a lot of them canned, still have a lot of them freeze dried. I know I don't need nearly as many onions this year. So I've grown enough to fill up this bed, and that is it. That will be for fresh eating. Do the water. It's taking a second to bubble to life. That's not because of the hydrant. It's because I left the hose out here. So there's probably water that was kind of coiled up in here that froze. Maybe I should wait to water. It's okay. It's not dire that they get water today, but freeze-free hydrants only work as well as the hose that you pair them with. I do have hoses that I did drain prior to the freeze. My aunt, actually, she lives in Maine. Hi, Aunt Heidi. She has those expandable hoses, and she stores them in 5-gallon buckets and just brings them in the house. That's a good way to keep a hose thawed out. I am bad at breaking those expandable hoses, which is why I have the metal ones. These are not impossible to break either. I have broken them less frequently though. Speaking of going through a lot less hay, the boys are actually going through a lot less hay too with this new hay that we bought. And the only thing I can figure is that this hay must be better quality than the hay that I had prior. I don't know that for sure. There are companies that you can actually take a handful of hay and send it in and get like a nutrition breakdown on it. I would have thought that the girls are just eating less hay because they're getting a lot of nutrition from the free choice alfalfa. My boys don't have the free choice alfalfa. I actually haven't changed anything about the way that I feed them. And I've only sold one goat since we got this hay, and I don't think Hullabaloo was going through, you know, a flake and a half of hay every day. Maybe. How you doing, Moocher? We've been feeding off of this top bale here for about 2 weeks, and we have not gone through half of it yet. We've been feeding the rabbits the same hay too. You guys out enjoying the sunshine as well? Spunky and Nix do know what an electric fence is now. That's good. Good morning, Chloe. How did you make it through this cold snap? She said I did great. Yeah. Crocus, mind your business. Mind your business. Let's see, do we see any bugs on you, girl? Skin's a little dry, but you know, all of our skin is dry right now. They do make supplements that you can give pigs. And, you know, that diatomaceous earth could have been drying to her skin as well, but I do not see mites. This is what the eggs look like, so she may still have them. I had some people tell me that they pour vegetable oil down the back of their pigs when they have mites. I'm gonna try that. It was suggested to wait till it's a little bit warmer though. I think we've at least made a little dent in the population with the diatomaceous earth though. A couple other things that I did while I was away was I rendered some lard. I've actually never rendered lard before. I have rendered a lot of tallow, and I just did it the same way that I render my tallow. It did come out a little bit more liquidy, but this lard is coming from cuts off of the outside of the animal. So I've got pork chops in here. Here's some little ones. Our pigs were little that we got processed, but see how much fat is on that? What I do before I cook it is actually cut off a lot of that, at least half of that, maybe even a little bit more, and then stick it in the freezer to render later, and that is what this is. So the fact that it's a little bit more watery might be that it was the outside fat instead of the fat that was inside the pig, so it wasn't the leaf lard. This is just outside of the body lard. I don't know if it has a different name, but I rendered that. I got 8 of these 1-pound containers, which is nice, and I made some deodorant with the lard. That's something I've been wanting to do for at least a year. I got the recipe off of Bumblebee Apothecary. She uses tallow in her recipe, but I use lard with a little bit more beeswax. I'll link her video below. It works incredibly well. Who are you growling at? I'm actually thinking about selling some of the deodorant on my website at the end of the month. I also made a lot of mozzarella. I have had a little bit of excess milk from our girls, and I like to make mozzarella and farmer's cheese when I have excess milk this time of year, just quick cheeses. So I hope I can find space in here for this lard. I have a lot of bones in here that should probably just come out and get made into broth in order to make space. There we go. Chicken feet. That's a broth ingredient. All right, so it's been a day since you and I checked on the bunnies. They hadn't delivered their kits as of last night. Oh, she's taken more out. Did you have your baby's jumper? Beto has at least one other dead one. I can see it in there. These are the problems that I'm having with my Californians. Oh, dang it. It looks like she tried to have them over there instead of in the box. Probably are all dead. I don't know when she had them, but they say that they're not dead unless they're warm and dead. So I've got to recruit some bunny warmers. There are 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's Beto's. There's live kits in here. I'm gonna go drop these off inside with my kids, and then we'll come back and count these ones. 6 of them. And that's about right for a jumper. And 10 kits for sausage is right. It's just, she normally has them in the box. Sausage has never had a failed litter. It's not that it never happens, but it's just a real bad time for that to happen. We've had a real hard couple of years with our rabbits. Promptly still has 8, but this guy isn't looking so good. I think it just died in my hand. It's really not uncommon for 1 or 2 out of each litter to pass. You really want, obviously, the full litter to make it, but onesie-twosies, it's not that unusual. Really, the loss of a whole litter every once in a while isn't unusual, especially when they make a bad decision like Sausage did. These ones in here are getting big enough where I will stop checking on them soon. These are Bow's cute babies. Don't have their eyes open quite yet, but it won't be long. Yeah, her 6 are doing fine in here. She's got a lot of really nice fur here. I'm gonna save this just in case any of those rabbits do come back. I'm not really counting on it, but in case they do, we'll have this to make her a new nest with. Our local Amish have a meat sale every fall, and this past fall I did go ahead and buy 80 pounds of chicken drumstick just on the off chance that we had another hard rabbit year. I really do love eating chicken, especially the chicken skin. It's delicious, but we don't tend to eat a lot of it because we usually have a lot of rabbit, but I've been rationing it. Ideally, I'd like to have rabbit twice a week, maybe even more, but we've been scraping by and not eating as much rabbit as we would like, and I haven't sold rabbits in a long time. Occasionally someone will come and buy a goat and like basically beg to go home with a rabbit, and I've sent people home with rabbits before, but in general I'm not selling rabbits right now because I can't. I don't have the kits in order to sell, and I hope that that changes very soon. Sometimes it's hard to see like the normal losses for what they are through the couple of bad years that we've had. This kind of thing is really discouraging, especially from our most reliable doe, but these things do happen, and I want to make that clear that it's not necessarily something that's going wrong in the rabbitry. This was a bad decision on the doe's part. I did check them last night and she hadn't kindled last night, but it's just one of those things. So she is probably making a lot of milk. I'm not going to be giving her any alfalfa cubes today. I do have some dried mint leaves, and I'm going to offer those to her to help her, you know, dry up. And then in a couple of weeks, we will try again with Sausage, and I expect that she'll do well this next time. Well, my baby goats are yelling at me. It's time to move on with the rest of the things that I need to do on the homestead. If any of these babies live out of Sausage, I'll be sure to let you know in the words down below, but I kind of doubt it, which is unfortunate, but we'll do what we can and keep on homesteading.